On today's episode of What on Earth is on the Bottom Shelf, trying to free up some space on my bookshelves to make room for, shall we? Things like that pile of books over there. You guys. But first I was like, did John Lithgow plug the book and get a picture on the back? No. I'm gonna show you some secret shame. Hi everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse. I have been super negligent of my bookshelf fake unhaul tour that we've been doing here. So I thought, what better way to end my week than by going through what is bound to be a super scary shelf. So two things that I'm gonna fess up right away. One, it is so dusty. I'm like actually 100% embarrassed. It's so gross. Like I went and looked and I was like, oh, gross. So we have a dust situation happening here and I'm mortified. And I kind of have no idea what's in what is actually a giant basket of books. So I thought what we would do is we're just gonna do it together. The reveals are just gonna happen in real time. And I'm just gonna let you guys know what the heck's going on back here. So if you are new here, or if this is your first time on the shelf unhaul / tour, this is shelf number 5 that I'm doing. And I will link the first 4 down below in case you're really interested in how we got here. Obviously, we're just here to have a good time. So we're gonna do it together. I have a feeling this one's gonna probably have a little bit of shame associated with it because I just don't know what is in the basket of, I'm gonna go out on a limb and call it the basket of shame, but let's get into it. So, as you can tell, I do like to have some tchotchkes, and usually when I'm filming, I'll remove some of that stuff to make it easier, but this, like I said, we're just taking it as it is, so here's me in Paris. Here's a candle I've never used, but I'm excited to use. Tahitian Coconut Vanilla. This is a mug of Bookmarks, so I feel like any good book nerd. I have bookmarks collected from, I'm not getting rid of any of these, obviously, from over the years, and it's everything from like one of those little clip-on things, a little froggy. Of course, I have National Novel Writing Month stuff, because you guys know. I have book depository stuff, of course, because again, the girl loves a book. I have bookmarks from Thriller Fest from different authors that they were giving out. It's like a half memento. This is one of my favorite nano bookmarks. From Book Passage in San Francisco. So they're nice little memories of trips I've been on. I love me anything kind of. Just like I mean, who doesn't need a bookmark? Or 9,000. Brookline Booksmith, which I've talked to you guys about, which was my favorite bookstore when I lived in Boston. This wound up not being a completely practical bookmark, but this is a Frank Lloyd Wright glass window. I got the Metropolitan 100 years ago. So anyway, not getting rid of it. And all right, let's just try and get in here. So things are stacked super precariously. Hopefully I don't break anything here in the process. Here we go. Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Haven't read it. Had to have it. Dark Academia. I'm gonna read it. I'm 100% gonna read it. And I just haven't yet. So I haven't read any Leigh Bardugo. We'll get into that when we get over to that shelf also. But this takes place at Yale. It's like a secret society. And I'm gonna read it at some point. Since We Fell by Dennis Lehane. Haven't read this either. This was in a video I did. I think like I own books by this author, but I've never read this author before. I need to read me some Dennis Lehane. I had Mystic River, which actually might be back here too. And I just listened to a podcast with Dennis Lehane and Gillian Flynn. It was the 20th anniversary of Mystic River. And I was like, ooh, I have that, I should read it. Haven't read it yet, but I digress. So I'm a huge photographer. Like I love to take pictures. I used to print out tons of pictures sort of before this whole internet digital phone thing happened. And I have so many pictures from so many trips I have taken over the years. and I was gonna scrapbook them. Spoiler alert, these are all empty. These are all empty scrapbooks that someday, my rainy day, I'm gonna fill with all the pictures that I printed out from all the trips I took. So 100% empty, 100% empty. Don't worry guys, I'm not keeping anything from you. And 100% empty and dirty on top of everything else. So another thing to do in my spare time, dust and then deal with my pictures. So this is where, yeah, we're gonna get embarrassing now. Oh my God, you guys. All right. Because we're all friends here, I'm gonna show you some secret shame. Bear with me. How gross am I? Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. That's disgusting. I swear you guys, I'm not. As I show you the dust bunnies, I'm not a gross person. Oh, I should have more respect for my bookshelf. Oh, I'm embarrassed for myself. Okay. That's gross. All right, so let's go from gross to embarrassing. So I will tell you that many years ago when my parents were doing a deep clean purge of their house, there were lots of boxes with my stuff in it, and they were basically like, take it or we're gonna donate it. So I took it. George and Martha, one of my favorite books when I was a kid, keeping it. Oh, typical me. I would put stickers and things, so pebbles. If I wasn't writing my name or drawing on things, I was putting stickers on it. Keeping it. The Care and Feeding of Stuffed Animals. I was a bookworm. I had tons of teddy bears and dolls and I loved them. And oh my God, you guys, I still think this is like, I mean, they were 100% real to me. I did have friends, I swear, but my dolls were also my friends. Mostly teddy bears. Big teddy bear person. As evidenced by Winnie the Pooh. Huge Winnie the Pooh fan. 1000% keeping it. My full name is on the inside, so I'm not going to show it to you. Which I wrote as a child. More Winnie the Pooh. Love me Winnie the Pooh. Now, I will tell you one of my prized possessions, which I did not take as good care of as I should have, because when you are named Audrey, it is very hard to find things with your name on it as a kid. And this book has seen some stuff. Little Audrey and the Moon Lady. 59 cents, you bet your bottom dollar. I wrote my name in it. I was obsessed with this book. It has seen days. I will never get rid of that. Everyone who ever graduates ever from anywhere always winds up getting a Dr. Seuss book. I feel like I had multiples of these and I kept one of them. I don't know if there's, nope, nobody wrote in the front. I feel like somebody else who maybe I fell out of favor with gave me one and I let that one go. So we've got that. Ladies and gents, I grew up a huge New York Mets fan. So here's some newspaper stuff from the New York Mets. I've got more of it in a different cabinet. So The Lonely Doll by Dare Wright. This is about Edith and Mr. Bear and Little Bear. I loved this book too. I mean, they're on the Brooklyn Bridge, you guys. How freaking cute is this? I'm telling you, anything with a teddy bear in it, I was 100% there for it. Look at when she meets Mr. Bear. Man, things are good. And another little bear bookmark, which I'll put in my bookmark jar. And then, oh gosh, I'm so embarrassed. All right, that's the end of what's in here. This is just a little file folder thing. But these are, I went to Paris a long time ago. I went a couple times, but I went a long time ago. It's gonna take too hard to take these out. These were like little prints and things that I bought, like from a street vendor in Paris that I was gonna frame. All right. Number 2. This is gonna be all stuff that I took from my parents' house, these random things. Okay, Never Ever, also, never gets old. Calvin and Hobbes, loved, loved, loved. I was obsessed with them. I think it was because my dolls came to life too. This book, I was not a child when I bought it. If You Give a Pig a Pancake, I love this book. I bought this at a book fair at work, and I used to have it on my desk at work because it used to make me laugh. This is my favorite, when he's like putting bubbles in the bathtub. I mean, can we just? I'm also a huge fan of the Far Side, so I've got little Far Side comments here. Comics. More Far Side. More Far Side. I just can't get rid of this stuff. I know I should, but I can't. And I 1000% like would dog ear pages that I thought were funny. And then I 100% know what these are too. So, again, where did you learn about life? I learned about it from Girl Talk and Girl Talk About Boys by Carol Weston. I remember devouring these books so many times with one of my closest friends in junior high. It was Girl Talk About Guys, Real Questions, Real Answers, and Girl Talk, All the Stuff Your Sister Never Told You. No soapboxes, no sermons, no nonsense. I mean, can we get any more 80s? I don't know why I couldn't get rid of these books. I remember writing a letter to Carol Weston and telling her about a problem I was having, and she wrote me back. Life was easy then. Okay, now I think we're mostly gonna get into adult books. Bookend. I couldn't think of the word of that. Good God. Another picture. Baby me. Younger me. I have talked about this book on here already. When I read Lore by Alexandra Bracken, this was one of her inspirational books, but this is Greek myths. And I remember when my parents were cleaning their house, and I was like, for some reason I need to keep this. I used this as a reference when I was reading Lore, and I'm so glad I kept it. It's a great book. It's classic. Okay, we're getting into it. Photos I took. I told you guys I love pictures. Belgium, Belgium, Paris, in case anybody's interested. Also, that was a really long time ago. I need to change out these pictures. But, okay, this is it. This is the big, this is why we're all here. Oh my God, I can't wait to clean the shelf. So, let's start easy. I love me some Patricia Cornwell. And if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I was starting to replace, and this is going to be a thing in here. So there's some trade paperback books in here that I haven't been able to replace, but I don't want to let go of. And I started to replace the Patricia Cornwell books. So these are the first 4 books in her Kay Scarpetta series, and these are the UK covers. So Postmortem, I might not be showing you guys these in order, so if I'm not, I'm sorry. Body of Evidence. I have reread these more recently, and then I had All the Grand Plans in the World to reread All That Remains and Cruel and Unusual. So Kay Scarpetta is a medical examiner in Virginia. These books start, I want to say like 89 or 90 she wrote this, and it's like a 20-book series, and I was gonna like read it from the beginning because I read to a certain point, then I stopped, but I still kept buying the books. So you're gonna see a lot of Patricia Cornwell here. And then we're gonna get into some, like, I don't know what this is, pretty quick. So Alison Leota, A Good Killing, I don't know what this is. Okay, so this is a prosecutor. Anna comes back to her hometown. She called off her wedding, and then her sister has been wrongfully accused of murder. Anna's a prosecutor, so she's basically trying to help prove her sister's innocence. And it sounds like there's a whole mess of secrets and hometown kind of stuff. So this actually is 100% right up my alley, which is why I would have bought it. Perhaps I should just read it. Next book is Laura Dave's London is the Best Place in America. I talked about this last year when I read it. I loved this book. This is definitely like slice of life. She's a new book out that's getting a ton of buzz. And I bought this forever ago and couldn't let it go. And I finally read it. And you can see I dog-eared it to death. This is set in New York over the course of a weekend. It's a girl who comes home for her brother's wedding, and it's all sorts of family stuff. Loved it. I feel like this one's gonna get me some comments. So, Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. I haven't read it. I bought this at a Thriller Fest. Strand was doing the books that year. I'm gonna put that in my bookmark thing. And I bought it because everybody was talking about it and I needed to have it and I wanted to know all the things. And then I heard about how violent and disturbing it was and I got super scared and I haven't read it yet. So I read The Good Daughter. It's the only Karen Slaughter I've read. I feel like I need to work my way up to this, but I also read lots of dark and messed up stuff, so I should be able to read this, but I haven't read it yet. And then Where They Found Her, this is by Kimberly McCreet. I haven't read this one either. So she wrote Reconstructing Amelia, which I don't have and I haven't read yet, but I've heard great things about. Okay, so this we have multiple points of view. We have a woman who leaves New York City. She had some family tragedy. She moves to New Jersey. Then they find a body in the woods and she's a journalist and is trying to uncover the truth and then uncovers a whole mess of crap from the past. So yeah, kind of also sounds right up my alley. Okay, I think this book I need to let go because I have talked about this book multiple times here and I still have yet to pick it up. So this is The Long and Far Away Gone. Let me know if anybody's read this. I can't like let it go, but I need to let it go. So in the summer of 1986, two tragedies rocked Oklahoma City. And it says 6 movie theater employees were brutally killed in an armed robbery, and then a teenage girl vanished from the annual state fair and neither crime was solved. And then 25 years later, it all comes like crashing back and people who are involved somehow wind up whatevering. So I don't know. Let me know if anybody's read this. I don't know why I can't like let it go. I've heard so many people talk about it, but like I'm not interested in it. So I should, let's put it over there. Next up is You Were Made for This by Michelle Sachs. I did read this one. This was one of those like weird, twisted, like definitely dark and messed up people doing dark and messed up things, but I didn't wholly love it. I feel like I should let this one go also. I'm not gonna reread it. And this was one of those books where there's no quotes, or like quotes in the dialogue, which was kind of super annoying. But this is a couple who they live somewhere over in Europe, and like a mutual friend of theirs comes out to visit, and it's all like messed up. I don't even know where I heard about this. The Perfect Wife, The Perfect Mother, The Perfect Lie. I'm gonna also put that in the discard pile because I don't ever see myself rereading that book again. Next book is The Good Thief's Guide to Paris by Chris Ewan. So this is a series, and I don't even know if I have all 3 of these. So there was Good Thief's Guide to Amsterdam, there's this one, and there's Paris. And this was kind of like cat burglar heisty kind of things, and I was like really into it for a while. So this kind of gave me like Thomas Crown, Remington Steele vibes, who I love, not just because Pierce Brosnan plays both of them. So I'm still kind of like, again, I can't quite let that one go. Sounds kind of intriguing. Next up, Michelle Campbell, It's Always the Husband. I did read this one. This is like dual timelines, university, 3 best friends, messed up stuff in the past, impacts the present. Really enjoyed it. The Night Olivia Fell by Christina McDonald. I also really enjoyed this one. This book was, after I read this, a lot of people were saying to read Reconstructing Amelia, which is how I got turned on to Kimberly McCreet, even though I haven't read it yet. So this is, again, dual timelines. This woman, her daughter falls off a bridge and is basically in a coma, and the mom finds out that she's also pregnant, and the police think it's an accident, but the mom kind of doesn't believe it and is looking into what happened to her daughter. So I really enjoyed this book too. Again, dual timelines, very much liked it, very much enjoyed it. Lisa Unger's Ink and Bone. I have not read this one yet. So I read Confessions on the 745 at the end of 2020, and I really enjoyed it. And I bought this book before that, so she's written like 20 books too. She's so prolific. Very much enjoy her. She also gives great writing advice. She's got a YouTube channel if you guys are interested in more from her. But this is, this is like Haunted. So 20-year-old Finley Montgomery is rarely alone, visited by people whom others can't see, and haunted by prophetic dreams she's never been able to control or understand. So this definitely has some spook vibes to it. Definitely keeping this because I very much like/enjoy Lisa Unger. Okay, on the self-help train, I bought this forever ago too. So The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. Has anybody read this? This is like the woman who spent a year trying to get happy, so every month she did something. October, pay attention. August, contemplate the heavens. July, buy happiness. Didn't know you could buy happiness. June, make time for friends. April, lighten up. March, aim higher. So she spent a year trying to get happy. Has anybody read this? Obviously, I was on a quest to fix my life. Still am, but I haven't. Maybe if I read the book, I would have fixed my life by now. My Husband's Wife by Jane Corey. I haven't read this. An eye for an eye, a wife for a wife. I haven't read this book. Okay, so this is about a young lawyer. She gets married to this guy named Ed. She's determined to leave her past and all her secrets behind. Her next door neighbor is 9 years old, but she's learned that secrets are powerful things and they can get her whatever they want or whatever she wants. And then 12 years later, the 9-year-old shows up on Lily's doorstep, setting off a chain of events that can end only one way. And I'm gonna guess that way is not good. I don't know. I'm actually going to look this one up on Goodreads. I'm not, if anybody said this book to me, I wouldn't even know I own it. I'm gonna look that one up on Goodreads and see what the people are saying. There's Someone Inside Your House. I mean, this just sounds like classic spook. So this is YA, and we've got, it's almost been a year since Makani Young came to live with her grandmother. She's still adjusting to her new life in rural Nebraska. And then one by one, the students of her high school begin to die in a series of gruesome murders. As the body count rises and the terror grows closer, will Makani survive the killer's twisted plan? So wop, wop, wop. I feel like this would just be kind of like a great fun, quick read, maybe. Someone Inside Your House. Hidden Bodies. And I was looking for this. So if you guys watched my latest haul, I got book 3 in the Joe Goldberg series, You Love Me, and I was saying how I wanted to revisit the end of Hidden Bodies because I didn't remember how it ended. So yay, now I can. So I loved you. I enjoyed this. I'm curious to see about You Love Me. I've heard mixed things after I posted about it, so we'll see what happens. So Joe's the best. I'm gonna put that over here just because I want to look at it, not because I'm getting rid of it. So I'm a sentimental fool. I've got my original copy of The Handmaid's Tale from college, which I actually read like in a college class, and I have my original copy of The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which I bought when I was in college, and I have repurchased both of these in new editions, and I was gonna unload these, and I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not. So Handmaid's Tale is covered in all my notes and everything from college, and I'm keeping it. And The Secret History has definitely seen better days, but I'm keeping it because that's the kind of crazy chick I am. And also I've dog-eared it, and I just love this book. I just absolutely love this book, but I need to find a nicer, or I need to find a different place to put it than on my bookshelf, because these are definitely just like sentimental keeps. The Whisperer, an Inspector Sager mystery by Corinne Fossum. This was an arc that I got at Thriller Fest in 2019, and I have not read it. So it says, how does a lonely, quiet woman come to brutally kill a man? I don't know anything about this either. Like, I don't remember ever hearing anything about it after the fact, and I guess it's part of a series. I'm gonna look this one up too. I'm gonna make like a Goodreads look it up pile. That's over there. Patricia Cornwell, so original. This is, I don't have a duplicate of this. This is from Potter's Field. Again, even if I could tell you what each one of these books is about, I'm not going to, but I really enjoyed the series. So I went through a huge legal thriller phase, and I gobbled up all sorts of legal thriller books. So I loved The Firm. I'm keeping this. It's my only edition of it, and I really want to reread it. I came really close to repurchasing a hardcover copy of it. I'll get back to that other book. And then here's my original Time to Kill. If you guys again watched that recent haul, I bought a new hardcover of A Time to Kill because I'm gonna reread it, and then I'm gonna read Sycamore Row, and then I might read A Time for Mercy. We'll see how I'm feeling. But again, originals, keeping them. But I went into a huge legal phase. So this is Richard North Patterson's Silent Witness. I also obviously, you know, mass market paperbacks were all the rage back in the day. So this is another Reluctant Return Home. And I was gonna unhaul this at one point, and I was like, you know, I kind of wanna reread this book. So we have an attorney. He left his hometown and the bitter memories of his girlfriend's murder behind, and now 27 years later, he's pulled back to defend his closest high school friend against a charge of homicide. And it's mysteries from the past, mysteries from the present. There's all sorts of dark and messed up stuff that happens. I'll be curious if I love this as much as I did then, but I really enjoyed this book. This was, I feel like, one of the first probably, like, Reluctant Return Home, mysteries from the past, mysteries from the present. Like, I didn't even realize that I was like building my excitement then. I also have a new copy of Marian Keyes' Lucy Sullivan's Getting Married. This was my original one. I will not get rid of it. I need to find a new place to put it. It's also dog-eared. This was the first Lucy Sullivan book I read. Lucy Sullivan, first Marian Keyes book that I read, and I absolutely fell in love with her as an author and gobbled up everything I could get my hands on. And I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times on this channel. I need to reread and read all of her stuff, but love that book. I talked about this in another video also. I was a huge Linda Fairstein fan. So this is her original book, Final Jeopardy, Likely to Die. And then I don't know where The Kills falls in the series. Sorry, I'm covering it. But this is a series about ADA Alexandra Cooper, who's the head of the sex crimes unit in New York, and she solves mysteries, and she partners with the New York City police, and they're just good thriller books. After All These Years by Susan Isaacs, I really enjoyed this book too. So this was made into a movie that was on like the Hallmark Channel or something with Wendy Malick. And in this one, it is the day after the 25th wedding anniversary. Rosie Myers gets a big surprise. Her nouveau riche husband, Richie, is leaving her for a sultry, sophisticated size 6 MBA. So when he's found murdered on the Mexican tile floor in their kitchen, between the French 6 burner and the English antique hutch, no one is surprised to find Rosie's prints all over the lethal weapon. So she's a 40-something English teacher. She's a prime suspect. She's the only suspect. She knows she didn't do it, so she has to kind of like go on the run and prove her innocence. I totally enjoyed this. This book came out in 1993. I had such a great time with this book. So this is another one I totally want to reread. So she wrote Lily White, which I have in the other room. Compromising Positions. She has written so many books, but I really enjoyed that book. So I'm keeping it. More Far Side. I feel like this is the basket that's showing every side of my personality. It's just gonna keep getting weirder. Till Death Do Us Part by Kate White. I hate this cover, you guys. I really, really hate this cover. But this is part of her Bailey Wagon series. I've talked about this series also. So this is kind of, I would say like murder light. So it's not cozy, but it's not like bloody thrillery. Bailey is always kind of like on the case figuring out what's what, but I like them. I like those books. We're gonna get into a couple books that my dad has given me after he read them that I haven't read. So Anthony Horowitz, House of Silk. I have read Magpie Murders, and I started to read his Word is Murder series, which I enjoy. So this one is London 1890 to 21B Baker Street. So this is Holmes Watson, and yeah, so he has like the rights, the authority to write the Holmes books. And then Emma, a Modern Retelling by Alexander McCall Smith. I also haven't read this one. I haven't read Emma since college, so I don't remember Emma. We'll see what happens. I also feel like Alexander McCall Smith kind of looks like John Lithgow, doesn't he? That's funny. I was like, first I was like, did John Lithgow plug the book and get a picture on the back? No. Okay, One Step Too Far by Tina Saiskis. I bought this when I was in London, and And she wrote another book, which I think I unhauled, that I enjoyed, but it was sort of like a dark, thrillery type of thing. So this one, we have an apparently happy marriage, a beautiful family, a dream house. So what makes lawyer Emily Coleman, a woman who appears to have everything, get up one morning and walk right out of her life and start again as someone new? So twisted psychological thriller. I will definitely read this one. I just haven't gotten to it yet, probably because it's buried in the bucket of shame. So we're gonna dive deep into my love of chick lit for a while. So this is Milk Run by Sarah Mlynowski. She writes, I feel like she writes a lot of middle grade now. I don't even know if she writes YA, but she used to write a bunch of chick lit books that I loved. This is like super dog-eared as well. I just used to devour these books. These are red dress ink books. There's gonna be a few back here, but these were sort of, you know, single girl in the city type of things. So I loved it. Yep, here we go. Let's see if we can pull out all my Sarahs. Fishbowl, which was about 3 friends who were roommates. And I kind of feel like this one maybe took place in Boston, or maybe I'm making that up. But I did a writing class with her in New York, which I very much enjoyed and got to meet her. And she and another woman wrote a book about like how to get published, like a writing guide, which I have with all my writing guide books. Let me know if you guys are interested in seeing that shameful collection. Me Versus Me. I loved this one too. So this was sort of a woman who wakes up in 2 different lives. So kind of like a sliding doors thing, but like when she goes to bed, she'll wake up in the other world. So she's living 2 lives. Whenever she falls asleep in one, she wakes up in the other. She's got the best of both worlds. What more could a girl ask for? Obviously something, or there wouldn't be a book. Here's another book I feel like I should get rid of. Not Sarah Mlynowski, not chick lit. When the Music's Over. Has anybody read this? This is another one of those books. This is part of a series. It's like the middle of the series that I bought it. Detective Inspector Annie Cabot is investigating a young woman's death. We've got a cold case from 50 years ago. So this is an Inspector Banks novel. Goodreads pile. Let me look into that one a little bit more. I'll let you know. This was a series that I loved. Jennifer Sturman. Can you see how cracked these spines are? So The Pact, so this is a Rachel Benjamin. The Pact, The Jinx, The Hunt, and The Key. I don't think I'm doing them in order. These were also red dress ink books. So the first one is The Pact, and it's 5 girls who went to college together. I don't know if they went to, I don't know if it matters. I feel like they went to school in Boston. Maybe they went to Harvard. And it's sort of this like family estate, a little bit reclusive, and they don't all love who their friend is marrying, and then he winds up dead. And clearly someone who was there that weekend killed him, so they need to figure out who it is. And it's just, again, sort of like a light mystery, but they're really good. I just had a great time with it. And then I'm trying to think which one. Maybe The Jinx. Yeah, I think The Jinx is the second one. This one takes place in Boston, and you guys know anything in Boston, I am here for it. I really enjoyed these. I wish she wrote more. I don't even know if she's writing at all anymore, but I loved those books, and I will reread those over and over, and I've read them multiple times. Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Again, this was my original copy. I haven't read that in forever. Bridget Jones' Diary. A classic. A classic. I haven't read this. Ooh, did you hear that? This hasn't been opened in a long time. I love this book. I'm not even pretend I didn't. I totally loved this book. I totally loved the movie. I feel like I should reread these books again that were just my everything. And then The X Factor by Andrea Semple. So this was another one. Marion Keyes actually, or says she's a red hot talent, the new Marion Keyes. But this is another sort of single in the city, roommates, hijinks, you know, drinking with your friends, living the dream, which you're actually not living the dream, but you know what I mean. Just looking for love and all that kind of stuff. Another one, I can't bear to get rid of it. I'm not going to. You guys. My original dirty Catcher in the Rye. I really should find a place for these. I really, really should. I have a new version of this as well. I love this book. Love it. The Power of a Woman, Timeless Thoughts on a Woman's Inner Strength. This was 100% a gift. I think this was a gift from 2 of my friends when I graduated college. So it's like all different quotes by women about different things. This is just Sentimental. Bring it over here. And then Lori Natoro's The Idiot Girls Action Adventure Club, True Tales from a Magnificent and Clumsy Life. Can't read. This is super old as well. I remember loving this too. I feel like I should give this another read. I feel like this is one of those like laugh out loud kind of funny. Yep, it's dog eared till the cows come home. So this is like little vignettes. I feel like this is like Jen Lancaster, who did like, I'm trying to think, like Something is the New Black. Those books are over there. We'll get to them, don't worry about it. But it's all these little vignettes, and I feel like this is probably gonna crack me up. I'm liking this basket here. Okay. Lisa Scottolini, Legal Tender. I remember reading this like 100 years ago. I don't even remember what it's about. I feel like I should read this one again too. This isn't very long. Again, I was in like a big legal thriller kick for a very long time. Here we go. Another Lisa Scottolini, Everywhere That Mary Went. The 100 Best Poems of All Time. I'm sure my mom bought me this book. All right, my last Sarah Mlynowski. This is Monkey Business. Maybe this is the one that takes place in Boston. I really feel like one of them takes place in Boston. So I could be making that up. This one is about the girls getting MBAs, and I just loved it. Speaking of Jennifer Weiner, Good in Bed, you can see what phase I was in for a really long time. So this was her debut novel, and I loved it. I loved early Jennifer Weiner. I have a whole mess of her books, which again we will get to. It's in a bookshelf over there, but I had a great time with her books. And then this baby, this is from high school, Willa Cather, My Antonia. I did my freshman year in high school, everyone had to pick an author and do a report on them, and I did a report on Willa Cather, and then I also read this in college, and there's notes all over it. There's like different color notes because I read it more than once. So I don't know, I've got like multiple highlighters, and I wrote in the margins and all that kind of good stuff, because that's who I am as a person. That's who I am. I really enjoyed that book though. Okay, we're almost there, you guys. We're almost there. So I've got 2 more Patricia Cornwell's, Point of Origin, Body Farm. This is the book club that I used to belong to. We've talked about this, When Books Look Like This. All in the series, keeping them. 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I really enjoyed this book. I know that this is like one of those controversial books that you either like it or you don't. I thought it was really well done. It's highly disturbing. I can't imagine being a teenager right now, but I thought this was really well done. I thought the TV show was really well done. It's really hard to watch. Okay, and then there's 2 more to go. So again, I was a big baseball fan. I lived in Boston for a really long time, and I wound up becoming really into the Red Sox when I was there. And my mom got me this for Christmas one year. So it's a tale of 2 cities. So it's New York versus Boston, Yankees versus Red Sox. I was obsessed with the rivalry. You could not be if you were there and you were into baseball. But this is a really interesting book, so I enjoyed reading it. And then my finale, yep, I mentioned this before, Little Girl Lost by Drew Barrymore. I really enjoyed this book, and I know that's messed up because it's really about like her descent into drinking and doing drugs and just how messed up Hollywood was, but I was fascinated by this book. I was fascinated by her. I said this in another video. I realized how dark and messed up it is. I 100% wanted to be her when I was a teenager, and I remember reading this book and thinking like how cool her life was. Like, she's just so freaking cool. But it was a really interesting book, really interesting story. I've read it a bunch of times, and I'm gonna read it again. But what a legacy of her family. I just think Drew is amazing. She's such a great actress. She's just such a great producer and writer and talent and everything that she does. Love her. There we go. It's empty. Dust is flying. Couldn't be grosser. So I feel like this was the most productive in the sense that I'm gonna get rid of these 2. donate. And then I'm gonna look into these 3. We'll see what happens. And I found some more books to reread one more time. And I found Where All the Dust in the Universe is Living, and I'm gonna clean my shelf. So, thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you have opinions about any of these books, thoughts, you know, if anybody had any of the books I had when I was a kid or a teenager or any of that stuff either. But I am trying to get back in the groove. Things have just been crazy. Life has just been crazy. It's a time. It's a time. But if you, want to chat about any of these books, let me know. But I hope you guys are doing really well. Thanks for watching if you made it this far, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.